This is a Canon RF 16mm F2.8 STM lens. This lens is really interesting, and it is one of the lenses that I've come to love in recent time because of what it's able to do. Let's do unboxing of this lens and a review. My name is Abeku. Welcome to the channel. If you have not already subscribed, please do, and let's ride on. So this comes in a very simple box, very nice, just the normal standard Canon packaging, which is quite brilliant and nice. Let's unbox to see what's in this box. And the packaging is just so nice. So you open it, unbox it. Now you are greeted with the warranty card, which is specifically meant for people living in the USA and Canada. Then also a bit of inscriptions and description of the lens and how to use it within this package. You put that one also aside, and then we take this one out. Now unboxing this is quite beautiful experience, and it's so nice to do so. Now you have this, and then you have this ones in it. Let's put all of these aside. The lens that we are talking about. This is a Canon RF 16mm F2.8. This is an STM lens, which is a stepping motor lens. So this is one of the things that Canon has. It's a budget-friendly lens, and I think that with 60mm it's an ultra-wide lens. And this, for me, I think that is really good, especially and great for vlogging, for landscape photography. You can also do portrait with it and all that. Anything you want to do with this lens is going to become really handy. This lens looks like extremely easily like the 50mm. So let's compare that one and see before we proceed. So if you look at the 50mm lens and the 60mm lens, these two lenses look quite significantly almost the same thing. They look quite the same. Look at the size, the heights, and probably I think that even the weights look almost relatively the same. I don't know which one of them. If for example turn this way, you cannot tell me which one is which unless you look at the inscription or the marking on it, which this one is the 50mm lens. So let's put this one aside. It's an f2.8 lens. Going to get sharp, vivid, brilliant colors out of this. This is going to be quite incredible masterpiece. This lens weighs just 5.7 ounces, so it means that it's really lightweight, extremely lightweight. So when you pair this on an RF body, on an RF camera system, this is going to feel extremely lightweight to carry around with. About 2.7 by 2.7 by 1.6 inches. And so that means that it is very, very, very lightweight, very small and compact. And when you hold it in your palm, you can see that this thing fits really right in your palm. And that is quite really brilliant. And as an STM lens, the minimum focusing distance on this lens is 5.11 inches and a maximum magnification of 2.6x. So this lens is going to give you creative shots. It's going to give you a little of vignetting. It's going to give you a little bit of distortion. That makes it quite great. So when you put it on a Canon camera setup, within the JPEG, you are going to find out that the distortion have been taken off. And that means that the camera in itself is going to automatically correct the distortion. And that for me, I think that is really good because I do not really shoot a lot of my images in RAW, so I don't really need that because I'm going to use this one usually for vlogging and ultra wide recording and all that. This lens really looks quite interesting, and it has a very silent auto focus, which is quite and smooth for autofocusing. And I think that this paired with a camera like the Canon R6 Mark II, this is going to be a great combination of a camera and a lens to pair with, especially when we are vlogging. The only downside that you're going to have with this lens is that it does not have an image stabilization. So even though you have all these focusing controls and all that, you do not have an image stabilization built into this lens. And so when you are going to vlog with this lens, bear in mind that you are going to have shaky images and all that. But you're also going to realize that if you have a body like the Canon R6 Mark II or any of the Canon system cameras that you have with an IBIS in it, it's going to really be helpful in helping this lens to have that kind of stabilization. I mean, this lens is just really, really great. It also has this focusing ring on it. This lens has this focusing ring, and this focusing ring enables you to be properly change this focusing ring to either the shutter speed or adjust it to the aperture, exposure, and more settings that you can find within your camera body. So you can pair this with your camera body and decide to change this focusing ring to become something that you really would want it to be. It has a 7-blade aperture, which is circular aperture, which helps you to create beautiful soft background blur to make subjects stand out and pop. Lens is going to give you excellent image quality. And let's pair it with the Canon R6 Mark II and see how it's going to be paired with. So you see this blade over here, you put it inside this and then you just screw, and there you go. So you have this with the Canon R6 Mark II, and then you're going to see that this lens is going to be really creative in terms of how you are going to use it, because especially when you look at it this way, it looks very small and tiny on the Canon R6 Mark II. And that means that when you are vlogging, you hold it like this at an arm's length, you not feel any kind of weight being projected onto your arms or your shoulder. So this is going to become really harmful and great for vlogging, for everyday selfie taking, for group shots, for just being around and carry go-to lens. For street photography, this lens is going to perform excellently well. We're going to test the autofocus on this lens to see how it works. So this is an autofocus test on the Canon RF 16mm F2.8 paired with a Canon R6 Mark II. So I'm going out of the frame. Let's move here and see. You can see that it is really tracking me. It's really sharp on my focus, and you can see the focus pointer right on my face. If I decide to turn around, let's see. You still have the whole thing being around my head and my face, and being at this range, you can see how wide the whole thing, the field of view is. And if I decide to come closer to it, you can see it. If I come closer to it again, you can see that it is still really tack sharp on my eyes, and when I go out of the frame too, it is still there coming out of it. The autofocus is just great. It is very snappy, it's fast, it's sticky. It just gets stuck to your eyes when I move around like this. And you can see that it is still focused on my face and all that. This thing is just impeccable. It's great. And you can see some blur at the background, even though it is really wide. When I come closer to it, you can see a lot of blur or background blur. Let me know what you think about this lens. What is the quality of this lens? How sharp it is? This lens is just really wide. I mean, when I open my arms, I can just touch all the walls in the room. So this is a simple vlog test of the Canon RF 60mm F2.8, and this is shooting f10 at 100 ISO. So this is just basically how you're going to see or use this lens, or mostly this how you are going to use this lens. And by using it like this, it means that you are vlogging on a normal day. And let's do a pan shot and see how it looks. So when you pan, this is how it becomes. I mean, this is just an arm's length. I've not really stretched my arms that much. So you can see how this thing works out. And on a normal day, this is how it's going to be.
This lens has no image stabilization built in it. So the only thing you're going to have is that if you have a Canon RF body that has an inbuilt stabilization in it, that has an in-body image stabilization IBIS, like the Canon R6 Mark II, it's going to pretty help in stabilizing the footage or the shot. So I don't think it's going to really stabilize it that much, because I think that with the IBIS on the Canon camera 2, you have this situation that makes the camera to become a bit wobbly on the edges and the corners. So let's see how this thing becomes. Let's do a little bit of test run and see. It's just a normal jogging way. So for example, you shoot content based on jogging. This is how it's going to be. So it's not anything that much that you cannot do. It's just very simple and easy to do. So let me know what you think about the image quality, the sharpening, the details in the comments box below.
This is my review of the Canon RF 16mm F2.8. My name is Abeku, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.